The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.
Welcome to Exposing the Narratives, where we examine, reveal, and discuss various topics, events, and of course, the narratives in the spirit of kingdom building through Jesus Christ. Hosted by three awesome men of God, Reverend Morris, aka Frankie D, Pastor Clarence W. Olloway III, pastor of Living Water MB Church, and Pastor Eric Taylor, aka Tae, pastor of Manifest Ministries. And now, join us in Exposing the Narrative.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome back to Exposing the Narrative. We have got a little lighting issue. Hopefully you guys can see me. I am in the back cave of the OLLOWAY residence this evening. Good evening, good evening. As you can see, Pastor Taylor isn't with us. I don't know if the subject matter was too difficult, but I believe we're going to lift him up and keep him in our prayers this evening, Pastor Taylor. It's been a long year. Welcome to December, everyone. We made it. We made it to December of 2022. And there are a few things we want to discuss. There are a few clips we want to show and let the people know that we're still trying to expose the narrative. Frankie D?
How's it going? How's it going, big bro?
It's going. We're under construction. Hopefully before Christmas we'll be finished with the construction project here at the palatial estates of the Olloways.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. Upgrading change is always good.
Upgrades, change is good. But in this political climate, we had a political show scheduled. We didn't do it. But for those that are out there listening, I want to get your opinion and how you view. We talk about this culture, the culture of canceling people for what they say or what they believe. But we live in the United States of America, where the Constitution and the First Amendment is the freedom of speech. The second one is ownership of firearms. So if I have the freedom to speak my mind, then why are we being canceled? And there's a thing on the news today. Congratulations to Deion Sanders. Congratulations to Jackson State. There are so many opinions why he should have stayed or why he left, the money. I don't believe Deion needs money. I really can't believe that the career he had, the endorsements that he does, just working for the NFL Network before taking the job for Jackson State solidified his financial future. If not that, I know a couple of former NFL players that played 8 years, and their pension isn't bad. Given today's economic situation, I think they do pretty well. So this cancel culture, this double standard, there are a couple of things we want to talk about today. And when we look at double standards, the definition is a rule or a standard of good behavior that's unfair. Unfairly, some people are expected to follow or achieve, but others are not. Example, a governor being accused of having a double standard is being tough on crime and order, yet allowing one of his own cabinet members to escape prosecution for fraud. That's a double standard. And I believe in the Kyrie Irving situation, there was a double standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Late last week, owner Jerry Jones of the Cowboys, got some Cowboy fans listening, was an article in the New York Times, photograph of him 65, 66 years ago, standing in the crowd of Caucasian people at Little Rock High School when I almost said it, six African American, 6 black people were trying to integrate the school. Over 65 years ago, he was 14 years old. But for him standing there and taking the photo was not what they did to Kyrie Irving, not what they did to Wes. You know, Easy. I feel for him because, you know, you reach the pinnacle of success in your eyes and many others' eyes, but having this skin tone, it can easily be taken away. So in my preparation for today, we have a couple of videos we want to share, but I want to hear the opinion of people exposing the narrative of this double standard, of this cancel culture that we now live in. And we're on the brink of electing a senator of Georgia on tomorrow in a runoff. And we have 2 opposing positions. And I heard one of the craziest things the other day from one of the candidates. I'm not going to mention any names. I don't want to get the radio station in any trouble. But he said it was a spiritual battle. Well, our spiritual battles, the Bible tells us, it comes from principalities. It comes from wickedness in high places. We don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against principalities. We fight against the thought and the train of the enemy. But man, this thing we about to engage in conversation about, I truly want your opinion. I truly want to know what you all believe about what's really going on. We can say it, we can testify to it, we can scream to the highest mountain, but until you are a victim of it, until you see it for what it really is, and it's hidden racism. It's a double standard.
It's been a double standard for a long time now. So this is not something new. It's been learned how to hide it better.
It been exposed.
It wasn't exposed until number 45 came out. And then a lot of the stuff really just like, oh well, we don't care anymore. Some people.
They were open. Yeah, they were open. There's a book that I'm and very few books. Let me say this: very few books do I read the second time. I take notes, I highlight books. But The Lynching Tree by James Cone, one of the greatest Black theologians of American history.
Let me ask you a question about that book. Does it make you mad?
Does it make me gag?
Mad. M-A-D.
Mad. Oh, yes. And it makes the author mad as well. Here's a quick quote from the book. Reading and writing about lynchings, nightmares, looks at many images of tortured Black bodies has been my deepest challenge and the most painful experience I've had as a theologian. At times, it was almost so heavy for me to bear. The more I read about and looked at what whites did to powerless blacks, the angrier I became. Paradoxically, anger soon gave way to a profound feeling of liberation. Being able to write about lynching literally uh, liberated me from being confined by it. Here's how he compares it. The cross. The cross helps me to deal with the brutality and the brutal legacy of the lynching tree, and the lynching tree helped me to understand the tragedy and the tragicness meaning of the cross.
Mm.
These were his own words, proceeding into the first chapter of his book. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Let's get into it. Let's take the first clip of I don't know which one the one you had first, the one you loaded up first.
Well, first I
that we
want to
looked
say
at.
good evening to Ms. Bobby Hall and Anita. We thank you for checking in, like and share. And here goes the first video.
I was wondering why I haven't gotten a question from you guys about the Jerry Jones photo. But when the Kyrie thing was going on, you guys were quick to ask us questions about that.
Okay.
Hold on. And I don't even want you guys to say nothing. When I watched Kyrie talk and he says, I know who I am, but I want to keep the same energy when we're talking about my people and the things that we've been through. And that Jerry Jones photo is one of those moments that our people, black people, have been through in America. And I feel like as a black man, as a black athlete, as someone with power and a platform, when we do something wrong or something that people don't agree with, it's on every single tabloid, every single news coverage. It's on the bottom ticker. It's asked about every single day. But it seems like to me that the whole Jerry Jones situation photo, and I know it was years and years ago and we all make mistakes, I get it. But it seems like it's just been buried under like, oh, it happened. Okay, we just move on. And I was just kind of disappointed that I haven't received that question from you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching ESPN.
Now, LeBron, the king, number 2 in my eye. You know, I'm of the Michael Jordan era. Well, Frankie
Number
D,
3 to me.
he holding up 3. So who's number 1?
Number 1 is Jordan.
The what?
Number 1 is Jordan.
Number 1 is Jordan. Who's number 2?
Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
And now let me get this. Now let me say this much: LeBron is the best pound for pound player that ever played a game.
I wouldn't say that
because of the 5 positions that he can play.
No, I wouldn't say pound for pound.
Jordan.
I wouldn't say pound for pound, but we getting off the subject. We'll have to put that on pause. If you want pound for pound, it got to be AI. It got to be Allen Iverson. Pound for pound, he was the best you was gonna get for your buck. But let's push that to the side. Let's talk about the King's statement. Let's talk about the King's statement. Let's talk about the King's statement. And you can go back and pull up 2000 championship where he took his team to the Lakers. They lost, but pound for pound. You said pound for pound. When I think of pound for pound, I think of boxing. I think of the best money for your buck. So, listen.
Go ahead.
What the King said was he was disappointed in the media because the same energy that you went after Kyrie Irving for retweeting something and posting something that had been on social media and other people's.
He froze. Well, on somebody else's social media page, is just
Then
I'm sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
back. Okay, it went, my thing went rolling, but no one went after the owner of Amazon, whose platform the show was on. No one went after Jeff Bezos. They went after Kyrie. They punished him. They suspended him. They made him donate $500,000 to the anti-Semitic foundation, but they refused the donation. But that was part of the requirements for him to get back to his livelihood. Now, let's take what LeBron said. Use that same energy that you did with Kyrie on Jerry Jones, an 80-year-old man who was photographed when he was 14 years old at a demonstration, but his answer was, I was curious. So what was Kyrie's answer when the media came after him? He was seeking knowledge. What Jerry Jones said, curiosity. I was curious. I was just there to observe. Your presence was a threat. Acknowledge the threat. Take away the double standard. I'm gonna stop. Go ahead.
Oh no, I agree with you, but it's been double standards for a while now. When and I understand that people can change, and I'm not knocking and saying that has not changed, but in the environment that he was in then, he was probably taught that before he was even walking, to have hatred in his life, or to go against something like that. Not sitting there saying that he's that way now, because you don't know what a person has changed. But
I,
I didn't really care for
I'm
his answer.
not. I'm not. I didn't care for his answer, but I'm not. I'm not. No. I'm not. I'm not a hypocrite. I've done things in the past that I'm not proud of.
Oh, absolutely.
Matter of fact, when the Me Too movement came out, and people were talking about how uncomfortable they were in certain dating positions, in some dating situations, I question, how aggressive was I in the early '90s toward women? Did I womanize? I question some of the relationships that I had been through, but um, even in questioning that, I never did anything to anyone that was illegal or not consensual. So, you know, we we have to question our own process. And
Yeah.
in my process, Jerry Jones wasn't a billionaire before he bought the Cowboys. He was rich, but 65 to 75% of the athletes in the NFL are African American. He won his Super Bowls with a white quarterback, a
And the
black
black running back number
receiver,
22
and a black running back. And he went and got one of the angriest black men in America
to play defense.
to play defense, uh, Charles Haley. He went and got Dion, who we spoke about earlier, who we gonna talk about. But let's look at the media's response to the rebuke that LeBron James gave them after you give your comments.
All right. Well, I can touch on a little bit of both. Number one, the way that the media handled that situation is real double standard. if that was a black man, like for example, not sitting there saying that he didn't do nothing wrong because he did. Um, Cosby, which I was just watching his TV show a few minutes ago. The way they went after Bill Cosby or any black man that messes up, they make sure that they're buried before they even get a chance to see the light of day. I didn't hear nothing about this picture until you had mentioned, hey, why don't you go listen to what LeBron had to say about Jerry Jones? I had no idea. So when I went and did research, I said, wow, you know, that was Hush Hush Quiet. And my understanding is this picture came out around Thanksgiving. So why hasn't
Yeah.
it really taken fire between Thanksgiving and now? Hey, good evening, Avis. You know, because like LeBron said, and I agree that us as
Same energy.
people, we need to start exposing things that are good or bad, because the media really dropped the ball on this one. It just went to show how
I
if that was somebody
it,
else.
it's not even that, Franklin. Getting into uh, uh, production, part of our service now with cameras and trying to uh, give the best picture and content and clarity that we can. I started watching shows differently on TV, especially news shows, and how they produce segments in the news, and
Yeah,
how they bring us a certain narrative to believe. Today,
you know,
and
if
watching
you
the
wanted to say that, then yeah, they picked the most ignorantest black person.
no,
Um,
not just that, not just that. One that comes to mind early on in the pandemic when people were refusing to get the shot and saying they didn't trust the government to develop a vaccine so quickly, and what was the efficacy of the vaccine and how it was going to affect us 25 years from now. Well, it wasn't about 25 years from now. It was about right now, protecting the most people you can. And they had a segment on I would consider a liberal station, with 5 nurses, an administrator, uh, an emergency room nurse. One was a pediatric nurse, and one was uh, a nurse practitioner, and the other one I can't remember, but it was 5 of them, and there were 5 Caucasian women, and they sued to not be vaccinated but continue to go to work, putting themselves and their families at danger. And why would you run a segment at the height of the pandemic that these women don't trust the government when everybody else around us was saying, hey, as soon as they come out with a vaccine, hey, get vaccinated, it'll save your life. So it wasn't their opinion, it was whoever produced and did that segment. They put a negative slant on something that was going to be positive for the people. When I saw the 2 candidates, I'm not going to mention their names, for Georgia Senator, I was just blown away on the blatant disrespect of black people with 2 black candidates that we couldn't make up our minds and choose for ourselves. It's not our vote. I don't live in Georgia, but I pray uh, that whoever wins does the right thing and don't hold a double standard. All right, I'm done with that one. We gonna move on. Let's see what the media said.
All right, here we go. Hold on.
Jerry Jones has been under fire recently, but perhaps not enough of it because of this photograph that recently surfaced showing him when he was 14 years old among the white students who were attempting to block and intimidate 6 black students from entering the doors of North Little Rock High School in 1957. His quarterback, Dak Prescott, was asked about the photo yesterday.
Obviously, we can be more empathetic and just and give grace, obviously, to one another, regardless of race. Obviously, from the times that we've come from to where we are now, thinking about the growth that we've had. That's who I am. That's how I think. I mean, optimistic, a guy that is completely biracial, black and white. It's easy for me to speak on race on one side or another. In the same sense, it's 65 years ago. And how times have changed. I mean, look at the man's resume since then, right? And as I said, I give grace. And I think that's a conversation and a question not only for him, but for you guys and how y'all feel, how accountable y'all have been in covering and discussing the disparities and differences in race.
Sam? I love it. I love, number one, yes, that Dak called out the media and essentially holding Kyrie specifically to the fire, but not holding Jerry Jones to the fire. And I also love how LeBron called out the media on the exact same issues of saying, okay, we're making this big deal about one, but all the other one, we're toning it down. Now, here's the thing, I get it. 65 years ago was a long time ago, but it was not that long ago where people did not live this and experience it. So it's one thing to talk about it and say, man, I've heard about it, I read about it. There are people who've actually lived this experience. And I wonder what Jerry Jones heard when he was standing in that pictures. I wonder what he said. I wonder what was said around him. I wonder what his parents said to him at the kitchen table when this day was coming up. Those are the things I think about. People like Ruby Bridges, one of the Little Rock Nine, people integrating schools. I think about what they went through during these times. And then fast forward, we're saying, okay, well, at least schools are integrated, yes, but also what's going on behind the scenes, what's undercover that's not being talked about. So I love the fact.
So what did you think about that, bro? Are you frozen? Well, put in the comments what you all thought about that video clip. Is it a big deal to you, or
What?
do you think that we should leave that alone?
What question? I
That's fine.
I was having
asking a
some
question. Yeah, some technical difficulty.
yeah.
I was asking them what did they think about the video? Do you think it's a big deal now, or is something that basically, it's no big issue, don't worry about it? Here we go.
Has anybody? Oh,
Here we go.
It is. Yes, that's what I was talking about, the double standard. Yes, Miss Bobby, the double standard. We live in a country that prides itself on freedoms and liberty and the Constitution. But it seems like there's a Constitution for them and there's a Constitution for us. It seems like there are freedoms for them and then there are freedoms for us. If we really want to dig deep into this, we can look at the criminal justice system. One man gets probation, other man gets life for the same offense. One man gets a pat on the wrist, another man gets jail time. There was a situation where one woman who plotted to kill her husband and I think
Hey, good evening, Miss Faye.
manslaughter, woman who shot through a wall.
Yeah, you're right. It's still going on today.
That's a double standard. It's still going on today.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know I cringe when I'm south? I literally I know I pray, but I'm mindful of my speed limit. I'm mindful of my tags. I'm mindful of my insurance. And it's not just a racist thing, it's a Southern thing sometimes, I believe, because I've been last time I got pulled over in the South, it was by African American officer, but the attitude, and I didn't know where it came from, and I wasn't quick enough to like turn on my camera on my phone when he approached me, because what he said didn't make any sense. But I received the ticket. I was on my way to a funeral. I didn't have time, and I do. We drive 80. I'm not admitting this, but people drive 80 on the Dan Ryan.
Please.
I was just on there,
In a slow lane.
I was like, yeah, people were passing me. Because I always try to stay in the center lane, because I was taught the center lane is the safest lane. But they were just passing me, and I'm looked down. I'm like, man, oh Lord. But I said that to say this, to expose the racism, the double standard, the sexism, the anti-Semitism, all of it.
I can't read
Bring
that.
it to the forefront.
Can you read that?
There will always be a double standard in this country. The Constitution wasn't written for African Americans. The reply from the that person was a runaround to save his job.
Absolutely.
Well, let's look at Dak. All right, let's look at Dak. Dak said one thing that he really didn't believe, because if he is truly a biracial child, African American father and Caucasian mother, European mother, you still black on your birth certificate. You're still African American quarterback. That's what you're being judged as. And I understand him tippy-toeing around it, but I give him credit for walking the tightrope. Because if he would have said anything negative about his owner, who has said negative things about him, it might cost him. Cost him in endorsements, cost him in fines. So
he had to play the game.
He has to play the game, but I don't. I don't have to play the game. I'm past collegiate athletics and never played pro athletics. I play life, and life is a keeper. And one of the things that we have to deal with is this every day. Every day. Given the situation that you were going through at the station to get the proper endorsements for the building, the runaround. And there was another company going into business not too far, and their paperwork and their inspections and things went smoothly.
Straight through.
You know, I was talking to my cousin who opened a business in Oak Lawn recently, and she was like, man, they own this paperwork. You know, they want the structural drawings.
They want your firstborn. They want everything. They make you jumping through hoops. We applied for our license in January of the beginning of this year. We didn't finally get our license to July. So we had to jump through hoops.
And they probably they blamed it on COVID. Nobody working in the office. I went down south and went to a business that I had business with, and nobody was around. Not only in the South, but right here in Chicago. Yes, Faye.
Well, yeah,
right here in Chicago.
This is actually the most segregated city in the nation.
I was watching one of the New York stations, Hot 96, the Breakfast Club, or whatever it is, and they had a guest who was from Chicago, and they brought that up. They brought up the fact that Chicago was the most segregated city in America.
It is.
And it's true because we live in ethnic communities. We call Chinatown Chinatown. Why?
Because nothing
Because
but
that
Chinese live up in Chinatown. Same thing with
exactly
yeah. So 99%.
Bridgeport,
Yeah.
Bridgeport, Bridgeport.
Woo.
You know,
Well, that's kind of flipped.
well, it Bridgeport is being taken over by
Yeah.
the Chinese. They're expanding, but Bridgeport was known for what?
Oh
That
yeah.
was a daily stronghold.
Yeah, that was daily
Those
stronghold.
were
That's why I got
Europeans.
arrested. I got arrested 30 years there. 30 years ago to this day, basically, in Bridgeport. Driving while black.
Don't. I never got arrested in Bridgeport, but I did hang out in
I,
Bridgeport.
well, no,
I'll say that.
and the craziest thing about it is that I was in a suit. I was going for an interview at the railroad at the time, and they said, an officer pulled me over and said, "Well, I fit the description of somebody that just robbed a bank." Now I'm in my suit now. So he was like, "Well," and then when I get to the police station, the sergeant asked a question to the officer that arrested me. He said, "Why is he in here?" Well, he fit the description. He said, "How tall are you?" I said, "I'm 5'7". He said, "They said this guy is 6'1" and skinny." Now I know I'm not skinny, number one, but 6'1", but I'm 5'7" though. But I fit his description, but I'm in a suit that just robbed the bank. So yeah, so
Look,
I've had my dealer in Bridgeport.
listen, my wife, she made it home. She upstairs. Um, she she gets annoyed with me when I watch the videos of police officers pulling someone over because nine times, I would say 9 times out of 10, they're fishing. They're fishing for something. That's why I'm a firm believer in don't drive if you don't have the proper documentation, and don't get upset when they pull you over. I learned my lesson. It was 2015. Brand
What
new
does that say
car.
with Anita? I can't read it.
Oh, the city on paper may say unsegregated, but within the city, it is segregated. Oh yes,
Mm.
we agree. Um, but a brand new car, dealership changed the plates on it. I still had the purchasing stuff in the glove box, and I turned on 127th Calumet City, and next thing I know, police are behind me. I wasn't speeding. We had our seatbelts on. A squad car pulled in front of me. Another car pulled in the parking lot, put his lights on us, and I rolled down the window, and the officer said I was speeding. Then he said I ran a red light. So I was in a turning lane, and I had the arrow when I turned. So which is it? So he angered me. So then he said, I ran your plates. So was I speeding? Did I, if you ran my plates, then say you ran my plates and my plates didn't match this vehicle. It's an easy explanation, officer. I just purchased this vehicle and I purchased it for my wife. So when I went to the dealership and couldn't trade her car in, I transferred her plates to this vehicle. Well, it's not in the system. I'm like, well, do you really think I would be doing anything with my wife and my 2 kids in the back? I'm on my way home. The plates still come up to my address. It doesn't have the same make and model. Man, I went to court. I was ready. And it was just one of those local, it wasn't like a real judge in a black robe or nothing. It was just Cali municipal hearing judge or whatever. And she read it. I gave her the documentation that I gave, and she's like, case dismissed. I was like, no, I want to say something. She said, Mr. Holloway, if you want to say something, it's going to cost you $50. Have a good day. Now, do you want to say something? I said, no. That's how justice is. When you're in the right, you can't even speak up. They don't want to hear from you, you know. So that's it. That's one of the things. But we are our worst critic. Well, that's that double standard, and we are our worst. We are worse on our own than anybody else. I said I was going to bring up the Deion Sanders thing. Man, I'm looking at Facebook today, and I see Ricky Smiley. And he goes for like 20 minutes about, you know, why everybody turning on Deion. Well, personally, I thought, oh, yeah, say I was in a black SUV on 69, and the police pulled me over. He saw a senior citizen on a passenger side, and he can only say that my back light was out. He thought there was some young people in the car. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
They fishing. That's why
they go fishing.
That's why I check my lights. I check my lights on the regular, and if one is out when I get an oil change or something, I tell them change it, because I don't want to give you no reason. But let's get to this Deion Sanders thing and HBUs. I did not attend an HBU. I come from a family that attended HBUs. My sister attended Lane in Jackson, Tennessee.
You froze again. My little sister, she went to an HBU college. I had a lot of friends that went to HBU college too.
All right, man. You need to get yeah. And what Deion did in 3 years at Jackson State is tremendous, in my point of view. I have friends. Jackson State just beat Southern in Louisiana, Baton Rouge. And they're going to the bowl game, undefeated season. And I'm quite sure Coach Prime is going to coach that game before he goes off to Colorado. But kudos, congratulations to Prime Time and getting a major Division I school to be the head coach. Is he turning his back on the HBCs, or did he set off to be a Division I football coach? Because they asked him if he wanted to coach in the pros, and what did he say? No. Said, these are young men that I can demand more of than some millionaire playing a position on a pro football team. So what is it? Why are we not happy or excited for him to go to Colorado and be the head coach at Colorado, and then take some of the players that he recruited through the portal to get to Colorado? They said today on ESPN early that he plans on taking his son, that's the quarterback of Jackson State, with him. And he got another son that played corner. He got a daughter that plays volleyball. So as a family, he made a family decision. As a father, he made a decision. Why are we all in this man business?
I don't
Didn't
know.
nobody
Because
say nothing when you
29.5
change
reasons
jobs
why I
from
would say
UPS
yeah
to
too.
FedEx. Huh?
There's 29.5 reasons that I would probably say yeah too.
I still, at the top of this show, I still don't believe Deion need no money. Because there's some people that I know that know Deion. Deion probably still got some money from his first contract.
Yeah, it don't surprise me. But
Deion was he. I ain't gonna say. The money changed him, just like his song. It changed his wardrobe. It changed his telephone number. It changed his address. But it didn't change him growing up in Florida being broke. And he made up in his mind that he would never be broke again.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
business-wise,
business-wise. But you let's look at it like this.
he all right.
I get the fact as far as it might not have been about the money, but he's trying to at least this is what I would be doing, trying to save money for my children and my children's children, creating legacy. So he's not just out here for himself, because I'm pretty sure that he's setting this up for a lifetime.
You don't think his children already have trust funds?
Yeah, but it don't hurt to have more.
Deion, I can't Google it right now, but
I
Jerry
Google it.
paid him $35 million. One season. He got a signing bonus. His contract was like $35 million. He was a gun for hire. He had just won a Super Bowl with San Francisco. And I don't know how much money he made with Atlanta. He was the one that broke like the $10 million a year cornerback salary. And mind you, the tax loopholes back then, and he's a resident of Dallas. You don't pay state taxes. You Googling it? How much is his net
Deion
worth?
Sanders' net worth is $40 million.
All right.
And he just signed a contract for 29.5. Yeah, that can kind of
Okay.
it might not be.
But you said, and let me say this. There was a guy that I knew that was like, I knew he was wealthy, but I didn't know how wealthy he was. And we were laughing. He was laughing at the Forbes list of the richest people in the world. And his response was, people with real money and not public figures that have more money than other people, you'll never see their name in that publication. And I thought about what he was saying, right? And you got to really be searching the internet to find some of these billionaires, not the Tesla guy, not the Amazon guy. What's my guy name? The guy that loaned Jerry Jones money, T. Boone Pickens. That was my guy. T. Boone Pickens, I think it was 2008, somewhere around there. The stock market had crashed. They put They put a mic in front of his face, and the young reporter was like, "Mr. Pickens, Mr. T-Boone Pickens." He said, "Yes, son. How can I help you?" He said, "The market closed today, and to our knowledge, you lost $375 million today." He paused, and he said, "I'm 73 years old. I got more money than anyone can spend in a lifetime. You win some, and you lose some." And went and got in his Bentley and took off. I said that day, that's my hero. Dude lost $375 million
It didn't sweat.
in one day. But he's the same guy that loaned Jerry Jones money to buy the Cowboys. He the same guy that changed the rules of investing money into their colleges. He gave Oklahoma State $100 million. Their football stadium is named, guess, T-Bone Pickens Stadium. So money, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Correct.
But the Bible states that money solves a multitude of problems. It satisfies. I might be misquoting it. It satisfies a lot of things in life. Because I'm gonna tell you something my grandmother told me. Go ahead. Because we almost done. We ain't got that much time.
Yeah, one thing I know is that I plan on having money when it's all said and done. But I want to be in a position that I'm able to help others and to be a blessing to others and to be able to give back to the communities and different things like that. That I don't have to worry about.
That's great. That's great. But let me just say this. And I said this to a couple people. I don't know why people think that I have some vast fortune hid somewhere or something, but I help when I can help. I do what I can. I ask God to allow me to be comfortable. I don't have to be rich. I don't have to have 6 figures in the bank. I don't have to leave my kids a whole lot, but my goal is to leave them more than I was given. I want them to have an opportunity while I'm alive to enjoy some of the wisdom and the wealth that I have. I want them to be independent of not independent in the sense because we're all dependent on God, but I want them to be secure in their financial futures at a young age. It took me 45 years to get to the point where I know what my credit score is. I didn't care. I got it. And what spoiled me financially, and I'm just being transparent here, what spoiled me financially, the first real job I got paid every week. I wouldn't take a job unless I got paid every week. Go 2 weeks without getting paid, you might not see me. But if I got paid on Friday, and when they introduced direct deposit, and I used to tell my boss on Thursday, because they should give you a check stub on Thursday, but the money didn't go in the bank till Friday. And I was like, I'll be here tomorrow, long as my check in the bank.
What did I say?
Oh, I'm not into sports, but could he be thinking about expanding the number of black on the Colorado team for them to expand into the major leagues? Yeah, it gives them greater exposure. But and because Anita's not into sports, let me say this: Colorado,
they got black players.
Eric, the enemy, comes from Colorado. They had Heisman Trophy winners. They had a black quarterback in the 90s. They were a powerhouse. But like he said in his press conference, for the last 20 years, y'all ain't done nothing. And he talked to the players. I wish I would have told you to pull that video. He said, some of y'all ain't going to. So get in the portal. Go where you got to go.
I get it up for next week.
They literally changed the rules so they could get transfer athletes because Colorado didn't have a general study program. I learned that today. But go ahead, man. You close us out. You got 5 minutes.
Well, we want to thank you all for tuning in today. Like and share. These are things that we want to expose the narrative. So if you got a subject that you want us to talk about or expose the narrative, email us at wvtcradio@gmail.com. That again is wvtcradio@gmail.com. And we'll go ahead and try to expose the narrative on it. If you see something around Chicago or wherever you are listening at that you want to expose narratives, let us know, give us opportunity to, and we'll go ahead and get the topic on. One of the topics that we are going to be talking about coming up, I honestly forgot what it is, but we're going to figure it out. But either way it goes, we thank you for tuning in.
We're going to talk about the state of the union. We're going to have some political discussions. The Republicans have taken the House. The Democrats have moved power to a new generation to see how they will maneuver in this coming 2 years of our federal government, of our government, the presidency, executive office, the judicial Congress, our senators and our congressmen. How will they maneuver in these next 2 years? That's something that we all should be thinking about.
Absolutely.
It doesn't just affect us now, but it affects us in the future.
Yeah.
And all our listeners in Chicago, register to vote. Vote.
Register to vote. Well, we love you all, and we will see you all.
I got my tax bill the other day.
Love you all. You all have a good one. We'll see you all next Monday at 6 p.m.
Be blessed. Have a great week. Hope to see you.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ. WVTC Allsip Chicago.